What is Gothic literature? We hear that term pretty often, especially now. I feel it's super trendy. We're like, oh, it's Gothic book, it's a Gothic story. But what exactly is a Gothic literature? Okay, today I'm going to explain to you what are the elements about the Gothic genre. The term Gothic emerges from that we call dark romance, and dark romance comes from horror. It has horror elements. Element number one of Gothic literature is that it's based on fear and mystery. That's the basic. Like when you pick a book that is Gothic, you know that it's gonna be scary, always gonna be really like a mystery, even like thriller. Element number two is that it's pretty often is also talk about curses and omens, meaning like it's a bad luck. It's like pretty common when we read like a Gothic book that a curse is and the main character. So the main character has this bad luck because it's cursed by this witch or by this situation, or this person has like a monster in their head. Like if something is going on that it has a bad luck, it's kind of like a destiny, a bad destiny that affects direct to the main character. Another big element or characteristic about Gothic literature is the ambience and settings. Like authors are so descriptive about this, like castles, forest, dark, like pretty gloomy. Like for example, when you read Dracula, that is one of my favorite Gothic books. When you read it, you really imagine that you are there in this huge castle, but it's not like a Disney castle, right? It's pretty like dark, and it's gloomy, and it's like I feel like it's always raining. There is never like sun over there. Pretty different when we read like a Disney story, which is like happiness and the castle is super colorful, like pink or blue. So that's a really good example to make the difference between the Gothic literature and other genre. That is always like pretty gloomy, and the ambience is number like one. It plays a really important role within the story. Another big characteristic about Gothic literature is the supernatural or paranormal. Like we're talking a lot about ghosts, right? It doesn't exist, but they're playing a big role. Vampires, spirits, all those situations that do not exist in real life play a big role and are like a huge characteristic of Gothic literature. So when you start reading like this like vampire story or like this ghost story, you know that you are reading a Gothic book. Believe it or not, another huge characteristic of Gothic literature is romance. Now, this romance tends to be super exaggerated, so emotional that pretty often leads in a tragedy or bad ending. Like it's not like a healthy relationship where it's gonna end all well. No, this like exaggerate a lot this romance, this story between people, but it's almost 99%. I don't like to say 100%, but it's 99% that is gonna end pretty bad. Like, big characteristic is the emotional distress. Like the language when we read a Gothic book, it's like super exaggerated that you are really always on the hook or feeling fear. Like then this person came from the dark with this big mouth and like big hands, are like so exaggerated. Like it's, and you can like feel it. And when you read different genres, you can clearly say, okay, this book is completely Gothic because exaggerates a lot, and that exaggeration is what make it you cannot stop reading the book and feel the person or the whatever the author is describing. Another big characteristic of Gothic books and play a huge role, and when I read several like Gothic books, I noticed this characteristic is like pretty common in all the books. And when you read Gothic books, you're gonna give me, yeah, you know, Kim, you're absolutely right. And I'm talking about nightmares. Nightmares plays a huge role on the stories. Like, this person had this nightmare, and the description of the nightmare, you were like, oh my god. And these elements, it's a huge and it's really, really important like help for the author to transmit what's going on, because sometimes like we cannot feel the same, or we cannot see this character coming from nowhere. So the author uses this element and take advantage of the nightmare, where he can like describe this situation, and you can feel the fear and have this state when it's not real, because it's like dreaming. So check the Gothic books and you will see that nightmares are really, really common in Gothic stories. Love to know what are your favorite Gothic books. Please let me know. I have so many Gothic books that I love. 3 of them that I come on top of my mind right now is Dracula. Definitely Dracula from Bram Stoker is one of my favorite Gothic books. Oscar Wilde, The Picture of Dorian Gray. Please, if you have the opportunity, give it a try. We have Emily Bronte with, oh my god, like Hood and Heels. It's an amazing story. Like, that's a perfect example of romance within the Gothic, because it leads in a really, really bad ending. Yes, hope with these characteristics we can understand and identify Gothic literature. I feel right now is getting really trendy within the horror genre, without being really, really like scary, right? Because in the horror literature we don't see many elements as we see in the Gothic literature. That's why it's my favorite genre. And you can absolutely, because people sometimes tells me, yes, but you know, if you read Gothic, you're not gonna have a romance. No, of course, like romance, as I said in this video, plays a huge role in the Gothic literature. It's completely the difference. So I tell you, and I invite you to start identifying those elements when you read a book. So when you are reading something, oh my god, this is a dark, you know. And I love doing that. When I'm reading a book, I'm loving like identify this is a Gothic book because it has this and this. So those elements make it a Gothic. So I love having those videos where I can share with you what I know. If you like it, and if you like it, please give it a like and share with your friends. And I'm gonna see you next video. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel.